Thursday, October 25th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I'm going to look at Deutsche Bank today, and I have looked at Deutsche Bank several times in the last year and a half or two. Deutsche Bank has been in trouble for as long as I can remember, the last few years, and every time it seems to survive. But right now, I think it's incumbent upon me to have a look at it, how it could affect the whole system, especially because it's a significantly important financial institution, or SIFI, which I'll talk about later. Today as well, I want to look at the markets as usual, but I want to look at some charts, do a little bit of technical analysis, look at the gold chart, look at the British pound chart, look at the Dow, S&P, and also silver and Deutsche Bank as well. Could Deutsche Bank be the black swan, even though it's not really a black swan because everyone's been talking about it? Who knows? That could be the black swan. The black swan could be something that is really obvious this time. Things are never simple. Of course, yesterday we had a huge drop in the markets. Well, not huge, but a big drop. The Dow finished down 608 points, or 2.4%. The S&P finished down 84.5 or 3%, and the NASDAQ composite finished down 4.4%. Yes, we had some good results, surprising results from Tesla, which I really won't cover, but that has helped the market a little bit this morning. So it's 8:20 a.m. London, so where are we? Well, spot gold right now is $12.3420, up about half a cent, half a dollar, sorry. We've had a range of 1239.40 to 1231, so we have tested the high from Monday, which was right around that 1239, 1240 level. So gold's still holding up well. Spot silver is up 3 cents at 1470. The range has been 1466 to 1479. The Dow is up 134. So up 0.5%, 24,719. The S&P is up 16.5, or 2/3% at 2672, and the NASDAQ 100 future is up 82 or 1.2% at 6867. So are we out of the woods? Of course not. We'll have a look at the charts in a minute. Currencies, the dollar has been very strong. The dollar index looks quite bullish at the moment, above 96. But as I've said, the yen is actually keeping, a strong yen is keeping the dollar a little bit down against gold. And as I've said before, the dollar index and gold can move together. The low in 2008 was $70.69 index, while gold was made a high of 1,030. And since then, we've moved from 70.69 to 96 in the dollar index, and gold has gone from 1,030 to 1,230. So they can move together. So where is the dollar yen? This morning, we are at 112.17, down 8. Sterling is a little higher, up 0.2% at 129.08. Euro is up slightly as well, 10 pips, 114.01. The dollars continue to move higher against the yuan. It's at 695.40 now, so that's continuing to creep higher. The crude oil prices are lower this morning. WTI is down 0.6% at 66.38. Brent 75.60, down 2/3%. Bond market yesterday rallied, the 10-year Treasury. As I've said, people still buy into the myth that Treasuries are safe haven. So the yield drop from around 3.17 to 3.11 this morning. Let's see, we are at 311, so no change there. Italy, 10-year yield is down slightly at 356, down 4 basis points. Today there's an ECB meeting. Some people are saying it will be interesting to see what the president of the ECB says at his press conference about Italy. If you think the Monaco 64 channel adds value to you and you'd like to contribute or help the channel, check the links below in the description. Now, I want to look at the charts first, and then I'll quickly cover Deutsche Bank as well. Well, I'll actually cover the chart of Deutsche Bank and talk about the SIFIs, which are very important, in my opinion, for the health of the overall system. So first of all, I want to look at the Dow chart and that famous flag that is evolving now. There's not much to say about it. Look at that, you know, the false breakout, and now the flag evolving. The target, I still have the target around 24,000. Of course, it could be a little higher or a little lower, but there's still a bit of room to go. And you can see that today, overnight, it's kind of rallied a little bit, but it's still hasn't been negated by any stretch. So what about the S&P? Well, it looks even worse than the Dow, actually, that flag. And it looks like we could go test 2,600 looks like an objective here. Of course, the low earlier this year was around 2,550 or so. So that's the S&P. So not looking great either. Now let's have a look at the British pound, which I made a video recently about how, you know, the technical picture doesn't look good at all. We've got this massive head and shoulder, and we've broken through a key level around 129.25. This morning we are just around 129. But I see the pound continue to go lower against the dollar. Does that mean you have to have dollars if you're in the UK? Maybe a little bit if you want, but I don't recommend it. But as usual, recommend physical gold or silver for you know, to protect yourself against currency debasement. So that's the pound. Now let's have a look at the precious metals. First, let's have a look at silver. This is the bigger picture in silver here. This falling wedge that we've had for a few years now. We broke below it earlier this year, but we're back above it. But as you can see right now, we really need to get back above 15. Yeah, silver has come off the bottom that we saw in the 11th of September, but we need to move a bit higher here now through 15. What about gold? Well, gold's still looking very good. It looks a little bit like the inverse of the stock market, in that we're forming like a bull flag. You can see the flagpole is the move on the 11th of October, the big move, and now we're seeing a bit of a flag consolidation before a next move higher. Where could we go? Well, 1280 could be a short-term to medium-term target in gold. So let's go look at Deutsche Bank. I've got a couple of charts of Deutsche Bank. One is the long-term chart, and you can see we haven't been at such low levels for this century. And here's the short-term chart. We're breaking this, of course, the low we saw in the end of June this year. So Deutsche Bank technicals. What about the financials? You know, I'm not a financial specialist like balance sheet or income state, analyst, but you can have a look here that Deutsche Bank has assets of 1.42 trillion euros. So and also it has a market cap of 19 billion. So you do the maths of how leveraged it is. That's how leveraged Deutsche Bank is, and that's the whole problem. It's the leverage. And Deutsche Bank has been trying to unwind that leverage over the years, but it's come from such high levels that that's the problem. And the thing about Deutsche Bank is that it's a systemically important financial institution. So what is that? Well, it says here, a systemically important financial institution or systemically important bank, SIB, is a bank, insurance company, and other financial institution whose failure might trigger a financial crisis. They're colloquially referred to as the too big to fail. So, and it's interesting because the German banking system in itself, outside Deutsche Bank, is very decentralized. Deutsche Bank and the bigger German banks only hold 12% of German deposits. So the German banking system itself could be okay, but the world banking system could be in trouble. So here's a list of all these global systemically important banks, which should have been allowed, of course, to go bust in 2008, but they've kept them alive and they're protected. They're the ones that they'll do the bail-ins. You know, if you have too much money in them and they fail, a lot of your money will be gone. The depositor's money. So you can see here, you know, there's a long list of these SIFI banks. They're the major international banks. And I would venture to say if Deutsche Bank gets in trouble, well, it seems to be already in trouble, it could trigger, we could have another crisis of confidence. We could see, you know, the interbank lending freeze up like we saw in 2008 with LIBOR, because that's what it is, interbank lending in London amongst international banks. You know, the derivatives is just another nightmare. They've revised the accounting to make it look smaller, but I think it's over 1,000 trillion or a quadrillion of nominal value. Some people, you know, the banks argue, oh, it doesn't matter because the shorts and longs, they net out, so the 1 quadrillion doesn't matter. But it does matter when one of the counterparties fails. It creates a domino effect, a daisy chain, and that 1 quadrillion becomes very important. And that's what happened in 2008, and it could happen again. And Deutsche Bank could be the trigger for it. So Deutsche Bank, yeah, we are at this century's low. I don't know. I can't see in the chart, can't go far back to know when Deutsche Bank was this low. So this morning we are at €8.73, down 1.4%. I don't look at it in dollars. Some of you look at Deutsche Bank in dollars. This is the euro price where, you know, Deutsche Bank stock trades in Frankfurt. In the US, they have what they call an ADR, and it's traded in dollars. It will be another very interesting day, probably. We're seeing a lot of moves in the stock market, a lot of volatility, and let's keep an eye on things. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and you can also follow me on Steemit, DTube, and on Twitter. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.